So allow me now to introduce our last, but of course not the least, speaker. Dr. Maria Victoria Espaldon is a professor at the School of Environmental Science and Management, or SESAM, at UPLB. She is at the forefront of research in the area of climate change adaptation, human dimensions of environmental changes, social safeguards and impact assessment, and ecosystem assessment. Today, she'll be talking about her latest collaboration with Dr. Comiso on rediscovering Laguna de Bay. So take it away, Ma'am Vicky.
Nasaan ang picture? Okay. 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 Good afternoon, everyone. Good noon. I don't want to stand between you and your lunch, so hopefully I can make this quick. Actually, the choice of my topic is really to give Joey Comiso the center page for this presentation, because the book is a work in progress with Joey Comiso. So I thought that this would be a appropriate presentation in celebration of his 80th birthday. Joey, happy birthday. This is our work. Although work in progress is almost done, we thank you for your participation here. The topic of the book, the title of the book is Rediscovering Laguna de Bay, a vital natural resource in crisis. I will not discuss in depth the contents of the book. I will just introduce this to those who are party to this birthday party. And I will just do an introduction to the book that we would like to dedicate to the future generations of Filipinos. The book is part of a research program that ended last April 2017 or 2018. This is funded by the UP Emerging Interdisciplinary Research Program when Giselle Concepcion was the vice president for academics. The title of the program is 10 years after the Millennium Ecosystem Assessment of Laguna de Bay, a focus for sustainable future. So it's an institutional research program. UP Diliman, UPLB are working together to put up the assessment using the ecosystem framework forwarded by the United Nations for Environment Unit or United Nations. So a background of the program that just ended, which is the basis for the production of the book. The program has 4 components, actually looking at physical hazards, pollution, watershed management, and sociological assessment. The book is proposed to put together the 4 parts of the research program, the outputs. This is Joey, this is not the final cover. We did, just for this, just to celebrate your birthday, we did a little of designing the book. We actually submitted the first manuscript of this book to UP Press. The title is Rediscovering Laguna de Bay, a vital natural resource in crisis. It has 8 chapters: the introduction, the discussion on state of Laguna de Bay ecosystem services, which covers geophysical setting, watershed and land resources, lake hydrodynamics, lake biological ecosystem, and biological ecosystem services. Before we have agreed on actually on the outline, is a long discussion about are we going to focus on restoration or rehabilitation. So we said we're going to focus on both. Chapter 3 is on water quality assessment of Laguna de Bay, covering physico-chemical state of the lake, water quality standards, water quality of the Laguna de Bay, water quality of the tributaries, emerging pollutants, effects of bathymetry, and effects of sedimentation. We're not producing new data here. We're actually using, aside from the data that we collected during the conduct of the EIDR project, we are using the data from the Laguna Lake Development Authority monitoring stations from 2000 to 2012. Chapter 4 is on drivers and impacts of change. This is the content of that chapter. It will cover the impacts of population growth and land use change, a discussion on natural hazards, fish and other lake products, water resource utilization, waste disposal, pollutants and impacts, and ecological footprint of the lake. Chapter 2, 3, and 4 have to focus on understanding the condition of the ecosystem using review of databases available in DOST, in DNR, and in LLDA. Chapter 5 is more on lake governance and interventions. So we talk about the management of Laguna de Bay, associated governance and intervention, mechanisms and challenges, impact of national policies relevant on the lake, and the potency of intervention. Chapter 6 is a discussion on scenarios for the rehabilitation of Laguna de Bay, insights, perspectives, and trade-offs. Initially, we thought of scenario building as a way of providing governance options for management. At this point, we are treating scenarios as part of a step-by-step ways of restoring and rehabilitating the lake. It covers perspective about the current status from community members. So this is more from the social side of the Laguna de Bay, community issues and typical resolutions of complaints and conflicts, state of water quality and meeting the standards, a discussion of the 4 scenarios for the Laguna de Bay, making scenarios relevant to LGUs and residents, and economic potential. The chapter 7 is a compilation analysis of strategies and recommendation. It covers management of urbanization and human settlements, addressing fisheries and aquaculture problems, strengthening the control of water quality, waste management program, geotechnical solution, improved land use planning in the watershed, river restoration, IEC program, smart landscaping technology, ecotourism, and discussion on environmentalism, enhancing governance for the sustainable development of Laguna de Bay, which will also focus on a discussion and a critique of the current master plan for the Laguna de Bay. The last chapter will talk about the enhanced monitoring of the lake using remote sensing. So this chapter will cover satellite remote sensing technique, land parameters, data source management and utilization, sustainability and maintenance of lake quality. We thought that this chapter is a good addition, actually an excellent addition to the current discussions already going on about the lake. So the book is an ambitious attempt to synthesize the works, the many different scientific as well as social sciences work on the Laguna de Bay. And the goal is to examine the drivers of change, to come up with the current condition of the Laguna de Bay, and hopefully this will become the basis for planning, to explore pathways for its eventual rehabilitation and restoration, and to forward recommendations, both short-term and long-term. A number of Filipino scientists volunteered to come up with this book. And we're almost at the tail end of the preparation. We're in the editing process, but I'll give you a snapshot of the book. For example, in chapter 3, which is the water quality of the Laguna de Bay, using the key parameters set forth by the Department of Environment and Natural Resources of the Philippines, these are the current key parameters for water quality. Water quality is central to rehabilitation and restoration of the lake. So we use the 2000 to 2012 long-term database of LLDA to look at the trends in terms of and see the conditions of the water quality of Laguna Lake. So these are actually 10 parameters, key parameters for assessing water quality and water classification. BOD, biological oxygen demand, chloride, color, dissolved oxygen, fecal coliform, nitrate, pH, phosphate, temperature, and total suspended solid. Except for one or two, the book has already a complete trend analysis for the key parameters, including secondary parameters like heavy metals, chlorophyll-a. Like this, for example, this is the BOD. And from the Millennium Ecosystem Assessment of 2005, which shows that the lake is in a very eutrophic condition, and biological oxygen, BOD, is basically class C, or some portions are class D. In this graph, you can see that mostly only in 2010 that we can see an overshoot of BOD. So, and most of the readings from 2000 to 2018, most of the sub watersheds are probably at class B, upper limit. And some readings in 2010, and this is the main problem. We have to look at what happened here, because it even goes beyond class C. I only selected some data, but the book has already an extensive water quality analysis of trends using the monitoring data of the LLDA. Here, this is, what is this? This is chloride. Chloride is problematic in the year from 2000 to 2004. Most of the watersheds basins go beyond the class C, class D upper limit. But after that, it goes lower. So it looks like the lake water quality has improved in terms of chloride. This is a study made by one of our students, Jonathan McCrory, who just published this paper. This is a look at the trophic state index. I was interested in this one because we've been discussing about what is the level of what is the trophic state of Laguna Lake. Some would argue that it is already hyper-eutrophic, meaning it's overly polluted. One or two senior scientists would say it's overpolluted, but some of the scientists would say Not yet. It is still at eutrophic or below. In here, using chlorophyll-a values, it looks like the Laguna Lake is more or less eutrophic. So we are actually recommending to continue monitoring chlorophyll-a, although it's not a part of the primary parameters. So just a peek of chapter 3. It's a peek of small view of chapter 6. It's a group work. Chapter 6 deals with scenarios for rehabilitation and restoration of Laguna de Bay. This map is the current Laguna de Bay zone map. The yellow one is zone for fish pen. The blue ones is zone for fish cages. The white lines, white areas are actually the navigational lanes. This is scenario 1 with business as usual. We are expecting that if we do not do anything, if we do not regulate expansion of fish pens and fish cages, is going to look like this. And it will have implications to water quality, and the water quality will have implications on the productivity and safety of the fish products. I forgot to mention that in spite of the seemingly improving water quality, using some of the key parameters, one of the discussions that the team has is the many studies indicating the contamination of heavy metals. And Laguna Lake is considered a fish aquaculture area. Aquaculture is a major business, it's a major economic enterprise in Laguna de Bay. So this is going to, business for as usual, is going to really impact on the quality of the fish products. So scenario 2 is reduction of fish pens. The LLDA has already re-estimated the carrying capacity of the lake, and it has reached a consensus that the carrying capacity of the lake is for fish pen is only for about 9,200. The whole lake is the biggest lake in the Philippines. It's actually 90,000 hectares. 10% is allocated for aquaculture. This is scenario 3. This is the engineered lake. Engineered because we envision, communities envision together with some of those engaged in the study, that the lake should have STPs or sewage treatment facilities along the lake shore or per tributaries to reduce the nutrient loading of the lake. Okay. The other key feature of engineered lake is the constructed wetlands. Indicated here, Los Baños, Victoria, Pila. This is actually proposed to be set up at the mouth of the rivers, draining the lake. It has also dredging in some parts, mainly in Napindan, Mangahan Floodway, Napindan Channel, and some areas in San Pedro here, near the West Bay and in the East Bay. Fish pens and fish cages are still part of the scenario 3. So scenario 3 is scenario 1 plus 2 plus 3. And the last scenario is ecotourism plus plus. Now, with water quality, this scenario envisions an improved water quality. So if the water quality is improved, ecotourism can survive. It also includes the idea that if the water quality is improved, it now is going to be cheaper to extract water for domestic water supply. It includes tourist destinations around the area, but it includes cruise, the green one, ecotourism routes that can go from traditional or conventional ecotourism areas in Laguna. So that's the last scenario. This book is dedicated to the young and future generation of the Filipinos. This cloverleaf-shaped lake, the largest in the Philippines, is once a wellspring of resources, livelihood, and vibrant culture of the communities living on its lake shore and watersheds. Now we ask ourselves, especially UPLB, can we rediscover the intrinsic value of this lake? How can we get back, not to the original condition per se, but how can we get back to a state where the culture is central to our cultural, where the lake is central to our cultural identity, and the lake as a source of our life and leisure or joy. To sum up this sharing in this very important day, this book is a collective effort of more than 20 Filipino scientists to bring forth a rediscovery of the lake as a cradle of knowledge and life forms. We hope that this book is going to be used by our students, by resource managers, by political leaders, and hopefully this can influence the way they will manage environmental resources. So in behalf of the writing teams, we thank Dr. Joey Comiso for pushing us to complete this project as our gift and legacy for the next generation. Maraming salamat, Joey.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Doc Joey. We love you.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you, Ma'am Vicky.